Hello. Hello, D. How are you doing?
Hi, Paul. Very well. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good. And hello to anyone and everyone out there on LinkedIn Live today. My name is Paul Chenier. Hopefully, some of you know me at this point. I'm the global head of sales at Playwire. And with me is Dheeraj Matta, who is the head of ad monetization at Outfit7. So, D, also known as D, uh, before I introduce you, just wanted to talk very quickly about Outfit7. As you know, Outfit7 has been on my radar for about 15 years now. The company's been around for about that long, a little bit longer. Obviously, a massive, globally recognized IP. My Talking Tom and Friends is the key IP, but award-winning IP, 20 games, 21 billion downloads, 470 million fans on a monthly basis playing it, animation, theme parks, you name it. So this is a massive global brand. We're so excited to have you here today. We're obviously so excited to be a partner of yours here at Playwire. So before I get into too deep, I want to start very high level, right? So to be a brand with this kind of staying power, with this kind of following, with these kind of audiences, you have to be about more than just making games. So what is the vision what is the mission of Outfit7?
Thank you, Paul, first of all, for having me here. It's a very, very good question and a great question to start with. Outfit7, as you said, has been in the business for 15 years now. And we just recently celebrated our 15-year anniversary. And over the years, the mission has changed many, many, many times. But one thing that hasn't changed is that we always wanted to provide entertainment to the people who engage with our content. So as of today, our mission as a business is to create global engaging content that is family friendly and is an entertainment space. So we don't call ourselves as a gaming company. We call ourselves as an entertainment company because we want to provide fun and entertainment to all the households, either through our games or through our content or through our theme parks or any merchandise that we produce that delivers memorable and interactive experience to a diverse range of audiences. And also, our games, our content is created for all types of people, from
Mm-hmm.
underage users to adults to teenagers to everyone. So we want to kind of create something that is memorable, that leaves an emotional connection with our users. So that's basically the mission of Outfit
Okay,
7
yeah.
franchise.
More Disney than Candy Crush, right? Gaming is the interface, but the brand that you're creating is really the magic of what you're doing. So what makes you guys so effective, right? Like you said, 15 years, 470 million fans, 20 plus billion downloads. How are you so effective? How do you do what you do so well?
It's like having the best dish of your life, right? So it's not one ingredient that makes it amazing. It's a combination of many, many ingredients put together in the right quantity. So I would say first thing that kind of helps us be more efficient and effective in what we do is our character centric approach. All our games are built on certain characters, Talking Tom being the main character, the lead character, I would say, and then Talking Angela and their friends. And each of these characters have an emotional connection. They have a specific personality that a user can associate themselves with. So that's one of the key factors that has driven us to be super successful in the games that we produce or the content that we produce. And the second one is cross-platform strategy. So just like as you mentioned, we are spread over the gaming ecosystem, over content, over theme park. We have over 113 billion views on YouTube with over 106 million subscribers. So that's a huge, huge amount of reach for a gaming company. Probably the only company I know that has so much reach on YouTube, apart from doing games. And having this kind of cross-platform strategy allowed us to engage with our users outside the gaming ecosystem and keep the momentum of the brand alive. The third thing that we do, I think that helps us being very effective, is having a very simple and accessible approach. That we want to keep our games super simple to use, super simple to get access to. They're all free to play, but we keep the content quite frequently updated with new features, fun elements, live ops, so that the user doesn't get bored. And that also creates a loyal user base that we have. So they always come back, and over 30% of our users are recursive users, and they're constantly playing the game over the years. Last but not the least, we also have on the business side a very important monetization approach. That is, we do not allow any monetization to happen within the game that comes at a cost of a user experience. So all our monetization is designed for being non-intrusive, and we always try to come up with innovative and engaging ways that allows us to not hurt our user experience. So a combination of all of these things.
Absolutely. It blows my mind when I think about Outfit7 and my Talking Tom and friends in the games. I mean, just the incredible content ecosystem you've built, the reach you have. Um, I definitely know it as the #1 mobile game IP for the last 10 years in a row. I
Yeah.
sometimes wonder if it isn't potentially one of the top 5 IPs, period, in the last 15 years. So incredible success, obviously balancing that user experience with monetization and the growth of the app. But I'm sure it's not always easy. So, what are the greatest challenges you've faced? Either building a new game, launching new games, creating new content. I'm sure it's not always easy, right? You caught lightning in a bottle 15 years ago, and you guys have been able to continually do that. But yeah, what are the greatest challenges to that success?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, when the business started, it was very close to going bankrupt in the first year because there was no successful games, and this was a old story that I've heard from my predecessors in the business. And as they show in movies, right, like there was one game that just blew it out of the scale. Like when the first Talking Tom game was launched, the old school, very, very basic game, nobody imagined that it would be a known IP or a success as we see today. Uh, and as they say, the rest is history, right? So today, as we see, we have over 470 million monthly active users, 23 billion downloads, 20 plus titles. So one of the biggest challenges is to kind of maintain the status of being a global leader in the gaming space, and always keeping fresh content alive while keeping or holding the brand identity, and showcase what we actually stands for or what we really represent. So that's like one of the biggest challenge that we kind of face in the current world. Um, Unlike many gaming companies, Talking Tom and Friends is not just a gaming company, right? It has an IP. So for us, it's very, very important how we represent the brand and how we ensure that we balance familiar appeal to our existing users who love Talking Tom and its IP with a lot of new innovation and um, new changes that are happening in the industry. So this balance is pretty much, I think, the most difficult thing to manage, and also keep releasing consistently new games and innovation, because the market at the moment is so saturated. Innovation is very, very hard. So one good example is we recently launched My Talking Hank Islands, which is probably one of the testimony of how we managed to push through the boundaries of innovation and created um, an interactive exploratory world in a virtual pet app, which has never been done before. So this was one of the first times it was done, and we managed to get 10 million downloads in the first month. But it was not easy. We already had a couple of failed releases in the past, so it was something we were very happy that it worked, but it was a risk that we had to take.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't been in the mobile game world for a very long time. I know that it's just progressively gotten harder, right? There's more players. It's very crowded. Breaking through isn't as easy as it was 15 years ago. I think the number one thing, and you just see it with any IP right now, is just relevance, right? How do you maintain relevance? How do you reach audiences where they are, how they're consuming content? One of the things I think about when I think about relevance is how are you innovating and how are you keeping it fresh? And I know you guys have a lot of I don't want to call them stunts, but kind of a lot of seasonality, right?
Yeah.
Like how does seasonality affect game development? How are you thinking about moments on the calendar, moments within your life cycle that you're using to create excitement and relevance to the brand?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of people don't understand seasonality as they should. I mean, in the surface, it looks like just decorating the app with whatever the holiday season is coming, right? But I think it's way more than that. It's about introducing special events or features that align with those trends. And for success, it's essential that we adopt these seasonal trends to help retain players and also drive new engagements. And it's also very, very important how to understand your user base itself in the first place. So it's not like Halloween is coming, you decorate the app with a Halloween theme, and you're going to drive engagement. It doesn't work like that. So for us, it's been very, very important to um, first of all, we take seasonality as a crucial part of the development strategy. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it. There is a lot of people working and thinking, what can we do within the game that is fresh and new and can create a lot of excitement, but not only that, can drive long-term engagement. So these are some of the things that we take into account. And the seasonal spikes that we get are really, really crucial for the success of the business and for maintaining and offering the services that we offer to our customers all the time. Maybe to share a short example, last year we had My Talking Tom 2's 10-year birthday celebration. So we did a major in-game event that attracted 49 million new users for a limited period of time. And this is kind of showcasing the power of timed and thoughtful driven content for a specific period of time. So it's very, very rare that we see sometimes some of these things succeed as we imagine or beyond our imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it always blows my mind when we talk about numbers. And I'm like, hey, we're looking to do a partnership with you guys. How many people are going to see this? And you're like, 20, 30, 40 million people in the US alone. So the numbers are pretty incredible. I think it just speaking to that relevance, if you think about the world today, it is incredibly fragmented. Right? People are going in different directions. People like different kinds of movies, different kinds of music, different kinds of games. But there is something about the unifying nature of the big holidays, of the big moments of the year, that everyone's focused. And obviously our marketers use those moments, you use them, and our other publishers use them as well. So, thinking about the fragmentation right now of the media ecosystem, right? It used to be nice and easy. You had basically TV, some radio, some news. Then there was digital, then there was mobile, now there's CTV, right? It's an incredibly fractured media landscape. Thinking about mobile, is mobile, is it still the next big thing? Are there untapped opportunities in mobile gaming? Is it yesterday's news? Would love to hear from you about kind of the now and the future of mobile gaming, and if there's untapped opportunity.
Yes, I think mobile is still full of untapped opportunities. Like, there is definitely what you mentioned. There is desktop, mobile, CTV. There's a lot of cross-platform integrations available, and some companies like Outfit7 are very well using them. Right, as I mentioned about our content around on YouTube. We have our own television channel called Talking Tom and Friends TV. It's accessible through our apps. So there's a lot of different things that we as a business try to do across cross-platform, which is one of our key strategies. But on top of that, I think mobile is still not fully tapped into, and that's personally my opinion. At least there's a lot of things that is happening still that is in a very early stages, like cloud computing, cloud gaming. We haven't really tapped into this area at all. There's a lot of AI enabled functionalities. I have recently been listening to a podcast about the AI driven gaming platforms, like on the cloud ecosystem. So these don't really are not tapped into. So there's a lot of areas around AR and VR technologies as well that our industry hasn't really fully involved. So it depends on how the industry moves towards that. Like gaming companies like Outfit7 are already preparing or exploring. When the Google Vision, Apple Vision Pro came out, we were already thinking about, can we build a game into it? We already tried to play around with it. Our R&D team has been working on it. So if the technology evolves and something comes up, there will be definitely something gaming companies like Outfit7 and many others would do many more things around mobile space itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, while mobile may be much more mature, you're still looking at 80% of the US population that is playing mobile games in some way, shape, or form on a monthly basis, and just incredible opportunities for a real one-to-one connection. And that's one of the things I love just about probably the future of our AI influenced future is the personalization that not only advertising is going to be able to deliver, but that games are going to be able to deliver. Right? We're not too far from me and you experiencing a very different game within Talking Tom. So anyway, we'll save that for another conversation. But where have you seen the most success? How did you accomplish that success?
Well, success can be defined in many ways, and it depends on which angle you look at it in our world. So, for example, I would say the greatest success we had was holding on to the long-term focus on Talking Tom franchise. As you said, we were actually named. We remained the world's #1 downloaded mobile game IP for 10 years in a row. It was announced last year, and this has been one of the biggest successes, I would say. We also have a very strong cross-platform engagement that is driven through our um, entertainment channels on YouTube, on Talking Tom and Friends TV. We have over 20 theme parks in Asia. So this kind of cross-platform engagement for a gaming company is pretty much unheard of. So I would say that's definitely a big success. And also, I think personally, understanding our audience and adapting the approach to our audience is my personal favorite success, I would say, because a lot of gaming companies or out there just want to monetize the users. They're not trying to adapt their gaming ecosystem to their audiences, which we are doing pretty well.
Hmm.
Now, talking about monetization, I would say we we have done pretty well in terms of how we monetize our games, making sure that users come as a forefront of our decision making strategy. We have also done a lot of in-game implementations. I don't know if you have seen, but like 4 days ago, we announced a collaboration with Angry Birds, Red from Angry Birds. We'll
Hmm.
share the YouTube link on the chat for people to look at the trailer. And I would say that is one of the most successful collaborations we had in the recent times. And it drove already 5 million YouTube views in 4 days. And there's an in-game collaboration and also content collaboration. So there's a lot of innovative stuff that is happening. And for me, that's success, and that's what I define it as success.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about. I mean, I think the thing that I love the most in the world is advertising monetization. You know that, D. You know me well enough to know revenue is what
Absolutely.
gets me up in the morning. I mean, let's talk about how you generate revenue. I mean, you've got incredible brand. You've got
Yeah.
400 plus, creative superstars building content every single day. You are where the audiences are. How do you, as the head of ad monetization, figure out how to make money for the company, and how do you make money for the company?
Just like you, that's my favorite topic to talk about too.
Uh,
Well, Outfit7 is a predominantly ad-driven business, right? So we ensure that all the games that we have are free to play, free to download, but they're free premium apps. So the user experience is the top of our priority. So everything we do, we try to do keeping our users in mind. And I'm talking a lot about this because um, it is actually the core fundamental value of our business, and that's also one of the reasons why we are so successful. I always tell this to people, like if we stop thinking about our users, we could basically make double the revenue. But because we are so focused on making sure that users have the best experience, and we are trying to play the long term game and not just try to monetize them today, um, it changes the way you look at the monetization strategy in the first place. Now, as we started saying that we have apps that are designed for all audience, all age groups, so we consider ourselves as a mixed audience app or business. So we ensure that all the users who are under the age gate are safeguarded in the right way. So we are accredited with all the different privacy laws around the world, and we have taken as a business decision to apply the most strictest privacy law possible. And we only work with partners who are abiding by those privacy laws, like Playwire. So safeguard is number one rule in monetization. There are many strategies now how we do this, right? Like, we ensure that quality of ads are important. We ensure that all the ads are being vetted by our QA team so that we don't have any suspicious ads, or all unwanted ads are being blocked. um, One of the recent strategies that we have started, apart from working with ad networks and SSPs and DSPs, which is our programmatic advertising, we started working directly with brands and advertisers. This is where also Playwire helps us a lot with in the United States and Canada. And the overall idea was to kind of have a little bit more control over who we are working with, who the advertisers are, where they are being placed in the business. We with collaborating directly with brands and advertisers, we have not only started selling them standard IAB formats, but also created some in-game ad formats that are designed specifically for brand advertising, by taking careful attention to something called as distinguishability. I don't know if that word really exists, but it means basically that the user should understand that it's an ad and not a form of a content, so that they have a right to not engage with it if they don't want to. So there's no forceful interaction or engagement.
mhm,
um, and this strategy allows us to diversify our monetization strategy, from not just ad network and programmatic business, but also drive new revenue streams, build premium relationships with different top brands in the world.
mhm. That makes sense. I mean, I think right now the industry writ large is suffering through a quality
Yeah.
crisis, right? The number of people who go to websites and the websites are unusable, right? The number of ads that are out there that probably shouldn't be seen by kids but are seen by kids, and I think it just speaks to what you're doing at Outfit7 with your focus on quality, on ensuring that all audiences of all ages are protected, their data is protected, and that is really the long game, right? That is really a way to ensure that you're going to be around for a long time. Let's talk a little bit about that control, right? So, obviously we're a big partner of Outfit7. We work to bring, we believe, some of the biggest, best brands in the planet into the ecosystem, but really want to get a sense from you, like, what is the value of Playwire and our direct sales team in terms of maintaining that quality within the ad? Obviously, we help drive revenue. That's what we do here, but just it goes beyond that, right? Like, you can get revenue a lot of different ways. Like you just said, you could sacrifice the user experience and probably double the revenue for a short period of time. But what
Yeah.
is the real value that Playwire brings in our direct sales team?
Sure. I think direct sales is not a strategy for just making money, right? So money is probably the smallest part of the reason why we do this. It's still like, I think, less than 10% of our overall revenue, and but it's a very crucial part, because it brings so many more added values. So one of the things, like, I would say why direct sales is because it brings it first of all allows you to diversify your business, so you're not just focusing all eggs in the same basket. If you know how the gaming industry works, majority of our revenue comes from other gaming companies. So what happens, and we have seen this in the last couple of years, when the hyper casual market started dropping, every publisher started suffering from drops in revenues. So by having an opportunity to diversify your portfolio from gaming business to brand business, it safeguards you in many ways, right? So this is probably the number one reason why brand advertising is important. Um, it also means, like, we are trying to improve our user experience. So rather than, like, you can ask yourself this, right? If you're playing a game and you see another game ad, and you're more likely to click on it and redirect to that game, and you're not building a affinity with, I mean, we as a publisher are not building a strong affinity with our users. So by having brand advertising, which is not another gaming company, we are able to keep the user longer. So we are improving our user attention, we are improving user experience, we are creating much more brand loyalty towards the brand, and also the emotional value that comes from it, right? Like, rather than looking at some poor quality ad, we have a lot more control on what kind of ads we are showing, who we are showing it to. Security reasons are taken care of as well. So if we know that there are certain elements in the ad that does not uh, go with a certain audiences, we try not to run it on those audiences, or we don't run it on those audiences, period. So there is so much more control that we have by running brand advertising, that it should probably be in one of every publisher's strategy, if it's not. But I think it's a very obvious answer, like, why we want to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, one thing I think a lot about, and this is everywhere I've been, it feels this way, is there is revenue, right? It's funny, this week, the big story was, maybe not the big story, but a big story this week was App11
Yep.
and the incredible revenue they've generated and the incredible enterprise value they've generated. App11 obviously is probably a very important partner of yours, mostly focused on moving audiences around gaming environments, right? What we love about the brand advertising, and it's been this way my entire career, is they have their own equity. Coca-Cola or McDonald's or Kraft or Kellogg's or whoever it might be, there is a deep emotional connection to a lot of these brands, right? As someone who eats way too much McDonald's these days because I have young kids at home, so it's in addition to they pay premium CPMs, but they bring their own cachet into the app, right? To your point, you're not you're not stealing for Peter to pay Paul, right? You're not taking an Outfit7 user and send them to a new game. You're taking an Outfit7 user and you're exposing them to a new movie like Transformers One. Let's just say a family movie. So I think everyone out there should and wants the big brand advertising. I think what we're trying to do at Playwire is just make it easy and efficient for the biggest advertisers of the world to get access to the best audiences and the best quality inventory, which is what we're doing really well. So we're coming up on time, but I did have one last question, which is, what's the next big thing for Outfit7? Can you tell me? Are you not allowed to tell me? Can you tell me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are. That's a good question, actually. There's so many things, and I'm not sure where I should begin. To be honest, okay, maybe to reflect back on some of the recent things that we have done. Outfit 7 recently won, or has been published in the Guinness Book of World Records for 2025 Gaming Edition for two nominations, or two world records. One for the most downloaded virtual pet app in the world, and the most viewed trailer on YouTube. So it has over, I think, 553 million views on YouTube on one trailer. So that's like one of the biggest things for us so far. Um, we successfully pushed the boundaries with a new game that I just mentioned, My Talking Hank Island. That has been quite an interesting experience because we tried to create new mechanics that has never been created in the virtual pet environment. And we are always constantly exploring new ideas, new mechanics, new monetization strategies, which are your favorite and my favorite
Mhm.
topic, to offer better user experience and improve the overall brand itself, right? And brand being the biggest thing for us, focusing not just on the gaming but also entertainment side, more content, more series, movie hopefully soon. We've been working on Talking Tom and Friends movie for the last few years now, so hopefully that should be on the red carpet pretty soon. And um, and we are also focusing a lot on brand partnerships, as we just discussed. There is a lot of added value that I personally see working with brands directly. It also creates a premium nature for your games, right? Today's people have Everybody has a very short attention span. So by creating a brand that makes sense and people can have an emotional connection with, you can bring them to your games or to your content again and again. So that's like the what we want to focus on. And we have just celebrated 15 years of our anniversary, of Talking Tom and Friends and Outfit 7. So hopefully, these are some of the steps that we are taking, and we are looking forward to many, many more years. And I would say that this is just the beginning, And so there's a lot of innovation, a lot of new things coming up, a lot of new partnerships coming up. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think it's all great advice, right? Whether you're a very small publisher just getting your start, whether you're a publisher that's meeting their inflection point, right, and they're growing quickly and they're building community and they're building a brand. I think a lot of what you talked about here really matters, right? Like number one is commit to your community, commit to your audience. Never put monetization ahead of the audience. Like user-centric approach, I think is really, really important. Number one.
Mhm.
Number two is look to build a brand for 100 years, not 100 days, right? If you're looking for a quick cash grab, good for you, but the brands that are going to be around 15, 20 years from now are going to be around for 30 and 50 years from now.
Yeah.
So definitely take a long-term approach to your monetization, to your audience, to protecting them. Um, and then, yeah, just a diversified revenue strategy. I think without, without deep understanding of all the ways you guys make money, you probably have 30 or 40 different ways that you're bringing in money right now. Always looking for new ways, obviously looking for new ways to grow your brand in addition to generating revenue. So just a well-built brand, a well-built IP, a well-built business. And it's always a pleasure to work with you. So
And I
to
would
our
also
advertisers out there that are watching, give us a call. My Talking
I would
Toms and Friends
say,
is
one
huge.
of the most important things is good relationships as well, and I think that's where you guys come in pretty well because over the last 3.5 years when we started working together, you're one of the strongest partners we have, and the relationship we've been building with you has been very successful. So that actually adds to that long term vision, honest, long term, good relationship with people in the industry.
Love it. Honesty, transparency, those things are never going out of style. Awesome. Well, thank you, Dee. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you everyone out there who's watched. And thank you all very much. Until next time, when we talk about AI-driven rapid variant. I'm joking.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Paul.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.